Right then, chaps. Should we crack on? Welcome to the Lifted Lifestyle Podcast, episode 36. Hell yeah.
We're cooking with the pod this week.
Today's a bit, it's an interesting one. Today's actually a Saturday, which is...
Saturday morning,
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
So, sorry if we look a little bit knackered.
How do you feel better than
Leo's full of hay fever.
I do usually? Yeah, if I'm like...
Yeah.
In the mic, sorry, I'll try not to be.
There was a few in the last pod where you're getting some sniffles in.
Yeah, I could hear it when you were editing. I was there like...
But yeah, it's early doors, so coffee is very much needed today. Not really got a topic for today, do we? So we'll just...
No, we need to sort of think of something on the spot.
It's going to riff it off. I mean, I was going to kick it off with the classic little diet update.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, we might as well go through it.
I've kind of been slam dunking it the last week or so. Really quite heavily. And
you've got a nice little routine going, haven't you, now?
Yeah, man.
Nice cooking, nutrition routine.
Yeah, it's actually been quite good. I've probably never recommended this structure to anyone, but like I don't know why, it just seems to be working.
It
really
does
nice
work
for me.
though, doesn't it? It does work.
So I'll basically, whatever time I'm training, sometimes 2, sometimes 1, sometimes 12, whatever it is, about an hour and a half before, I'll scran my breakfast, which most of the time ends up being lunch.
Yeah.
So I just have coffee in the morning and then wait until lunchtime comes round, and have the oats, which is a classic, and then I'll train, have like a little protein snack in the middle of the day, which is literally like probably 200 calories max, and then I'll eat again at about 8. So I only really
sorted. Bro's got 3 meals and he's just steezing it.
It's like the easiest thing ever.
Don't you think that the hunger in the morning when you first wake up, it's so easy to like mitigate and manage?
Yeah, 100%.
Rather than if you're hungry at night, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes I'll be sat in the office and I'm like, bloody hell, I'm quite hungry. And give it 10 minutes
and it's gone. Yeah. Yeah. So I like to say to myself, like, if you're hungry, just think about doing something else for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If you're still hungry, then maybe you could eat.
Maybe
you're probably going to be all right.
Yeah. And then obviously that last meal, because I'm only really having 2.5 meals. That last meal is like quite hefty. But I was
thinking about that video you sent me.
Yeah, that was a bit rough. I pushed it. I pushed it a bit too hard on one of the days, and I hadn't had much protein throughout the day. So, what did I have? Was it?
You messaged me and you put POV. You're 500 grams into eating 600 grams of chicken. And you were like on your sofa like.
I was actually sweating because I'd eaten so much. But I was like, I got to the end of the day. This day I actually didn't have that midday snack, so I'd only had oats in the morning with obviously a bit of whey. So I'd had like 35 grams of protein all day, which is far from ideal. So I was like, right, how do I get in, 170 grams of protein?
Scran loads of chicken.
Let's just have a full pack of chicken.
Jesus Christ.
So that was a bit rough. I think I...
At least you did it, though.
Yeah.
A lot of people would just sack that off.
Yeah, so. I did make it quite nice, though. I got a bit of... It's a bit rogue, actually. I blended up some oats because I didn't have any bread, because I wanted to make, like, breaded chicken.
Oh, breaded chicken, yeah.
So I blended up a few oats, whacked the chicken in some, like...
Can't you just put the oats on it? I thought you could...
What, just without blending them?
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. Probably.
I think you can, yeah. I think if you put but then you got to make like a sticky paste to go on them. Yeah, go on.
Sorry. So yeah, dunked the chicken in like a little egg thing, and then dunked it in the oats, and then whacked it in the air fryer. It was like,
yeah, that sounds nice.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that does sound good.
A couple of veggies with that, but yeah, by the end of that, I was properly sweating, struggling to get it in. Yeah, that structure's been working nice. I've been doing the same sort of thing where in the evening I basically just have loads of protein.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Yeah. does fill you up, doesn't it?
And that pre-meal before I train, like 2 hours, hour and a half before, seems to be making my training fine.
Yeah.
I've not had any negative...
Yeah, I think as long as you're having, like, 50 gram of carbs before you train,
like,
you're going to be fine, aren't you, really?
Yeah, but, I mean, this whole diet was always an experiment, and I just wanted to, like, go in and try stuff, see what would happen. So, I mean, looking at, like, yesterday, for example, let's have a look at this. Yesterday I had, like, 1.5.
Really?
And it was basically all protein and 35 grams of fat.
Yeah.
So,
just get it done. Get the job done, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
And with that, looking at waking up this morning, I was 94.8.
So drop.
So, like, since the last pod, I think I've dropped about 1.3 kilo, 1.4 kilo this week.
That's good. That's good, kid. You're going to be wrapped up in no time.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it actually finishes really on Monday.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you say the other day you're going until France?
Yeah. So I'll have a week in France.
I bet you'll come back looking so much better.
I hope so. I mean, I took some little rig update the other day post-gym, and I was like, I actually don't look that flat Stanley.
Yeah.
I look all right. So... yeah, that's the diet wrapped up pretty much. Should be about, 8 kilos down.
That's good.
Total. Across a pretty short time frame. So.
Very, very, very good going.
Happy days. I'm not going to lie, I kind of don't want to stop dieting. Not even from a, not even that I want to get leaner. Like, it's just easy.
It is easy. When you've got a structure, it's not that hard, is it, at all?
I'm kind of, can't really be bothered to have 4 or 5
more
meals.
Food, yeah.
I know it's going to be a while away, but...
yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes it is annoying that you have to prep all those meals.
Yeah.
Like, I'm half tempted to go down to 4 meals.
You have 5 at the minute?
I have 5, yeah, and I could probably make it 4. And it wouldn't make any difference to how hungry I am.
What are you having? Is it crumpets?
Yeah, so my first meal...
chicky rice, yoghurt.
So my pre-meal, which is always my first meal of the day, like you, is like 2 bagel thins, eggs, 2 crumpets,
sent
jam,
me a photo of that this morning,
and grapes as well. So it's like, pretty sure it's about 800 calories or something like that. And that actually fills me up for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Oh God, what am I doing here? And then after that, it's just the yogurt meal, 2 chicken and veg meals, and then have an oatmeal.
Yeah.
As well. So I could the chicken and veg meals I could put together.
Put them together. They're not that big, are they?
No, like it's like 200 grams of veg.
Yeah.
150 grams of chicken. Like I could just have 400 grams of veg.
But do you not have any rice in them yet?
Not yet. No.
Really?
No.
So is food still quite low?
I'll tell you right now. So oh God, I'm messing this up. It is 2,100.
Not horrendous.
It's not awful now. Like I'm not that hungry on that.
Yeah.
So there is a time in the evening where I get a bit hungry, but it's manageable. It's fine. But I do think when I'm like actually in a surplus, eating like over 100 grams of rice in one sitting, for me is quite hard.
Yeah.
When you get to a point where you're not that hungry, you're a bit like
really
chewing on it, and it's not nice. So I think 5 meals then for me is a little bit better.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Have a smaller serving of rice. Yeah. I don't know what mine's going to get up to, really. Pre-Havar. Because it's not actually that far away now, is it?
I think yours will get quite...
it'll be like 2 weeks post-France, basically, to ramp it.
Maybe I reckon you'll get close to 3,000.
You think? See what happens.
Depends what happens in France, really, doesn't it? Like, you might end up clotting yourself in France, and then you're like, shit.
It's tough because the food's quite expensive there. Yeah. So like, I can't imagine myself being able to really scran everything
inside.
And like, they don't really do breakfast, so you'll sort of have a pastry, and then you kind of like
it's a tough one because you probably could have done with like a week,
a little bit more time
before you'd gone to France. But like,
initially I planned to stop it the last week. But I was like, kind of want to just pull off a little bit
go
more.
A bit more, yeah.
Yeah, otherwise it would feel like I've kind of halved the diet.
Yeah,
not doing it
just
properly.
because you're going away.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely hard on that kind of a trip away as well, where you're going with your girlfriend and her friend, her boyfriend. Like it's going to be hard to be like on it.
Yeah, I'm going with Henry, our coach.
Yeah,
which I don't know how to play the like mate coaching relationship in that situation.
Like, are you going to be there like coaching him what to eat?
They're like
just a bit weird,
isn't it? A bit more.
Yeah, strange.
Because obviously he's like a proper. I did a reel on this the other day. I think you were in the room. He's like proper hard gainer.
Yeah. Is that him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's about just under 60 kilos at the minute, and he's eating 3.2.
Yeah, so
which is like that's quite high for someone of that
body weight. Yeah, it's very, very high. Yeah.
I mean, you're like what currently about 1,000 calories less than that and 5 kilos heavier, and you've got a lot more muscle.
Yeah.
So
it must be rough when you are like that.
Yeah, it's been an interesting management as well because he doesn't have the best reaction to having high food from a digestive perspective.
Oh, really? So it's just sort of a tough mix.
Yeah. So we've been spending like the last 3 or so weeks trying to find out what meals and what foods are potentially causing
that digestive
issues, but there's nothing so far that I've been able to see that's like a common occurrence where if he eats this, he has these issues.
I've noticed that there is quite a few people who are like that. It always seems to be the ones that are more of like a naturally skinnier build.
Yeah.
Who have to eat a lot of food. They also seem to just get like digestive issues. It's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
but then is that why they're skinny? Because in the past
they've had digestive issues,
been bloated,
so they've not wanted to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Like that, like Ben, who's just started Heffron. Like when he sent me his photos, he's reasonably tall. He must be, well, I'm like 5'7", 5'8". He must be like 5'10", 5'11", I think. And he sent me some initial photos across, and he like showed them to you. He's like got quite a lot of muscle.
Pretty muscly, isn't it?
But he's only 70 kilos.
Yeah.
I was like, I expected him to be like 80.
Yeah.
So I've started him on like just like 3,000 calories because he said, I've had like quite a lot of digestive issues.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we'll start probably what's going to be on the lower side. Find what's, like you said, try and find what's like causing those digestive issues. But I think with him, his issue was when we first had his consult, he was saying like he's finding it hard to put on weight. So it's like, okay, like how many meals are you actually having? And he was like, honestly, sometimes it's like 2, 3. And he's scranning like 3 tins of tuna in one go.
Really?
With like 200 gram of pasta. And I was like, okay, it's probably going to be a good idea to actually lower the food volume and spread it out more across the day.
Yeah, defo.
Because that is probably going to be causing some issues by doing that. So.
Yeah. I never had those issues. I mean, obviously, we've both come from the like skinnier background.
Yeah.
As opposed to the slightly larger background.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever really had any issues with like putting away food.
No, not. I mean, appetite-wise, but not like digestive issues at all. I can't think of any time where I've seriously been ropes on the digestion front.
But like when I was 74 kilos, I think it was sort of the first time I started like properly doing the nutrition and tracking my body weight and that sort of stuff. I was about 74, and this is at the point where I didn't really it sounds so obvious, but I didn't really think about, let's just try and have a certain amount of calories. Like, this is way before I even started doing all that stuff. Yeah. And I've probably always eaten quite a lot, but I just had to really go for it to actually. But now that amount of food sounds normal.
Yeah.
Rather than just feeling like ridiculous.
It's strange, isn't it? Like before you started, obviously trying to get bigger, like 3,000 calories, you're probably like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But now 3,000 calories to me just seems like a nice amount of food. It's really weird.
Yeah, you really adapt to it, don't you?
That's just like a normal amount of food.
Yeah. I mean, the first time I dieted properly, I think I started dieting on 2.9.
Yeah.
That was in lockdown where I was like biking every day for hours.
Yeah.
So sure, that was a bit higher than maybe what it would be now even.
Yeah.
But even that felt like very nice amount of food.
Yeah, it's just a comfortable. You're not forcing it in, but you're not starving. Like, I honestly think 2,500 for me would just be like,
yeah,
I could do that easily.
Yeah.
And it not be a struggle or a struggle on either end of the spectrum, basically.
Do you think that's partly from like a improvement in food choices as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like, you can have 2,500 calories of like clean whole foods.
Yeah.
You can have so much more food volume than what people actually think you can. So
yeah, I saw a YouTube documentary, or like a mini documentary of these people that were trying to lose weight, and they were like, you know, pulling the classics. I've got a slow metabolism, or I've got, I don't know, all of these other issues. Which, sure, for some people they actually come into play, but it kind of doesn't change the rules of the game.
Yeah, I've still just got to do the same thing.
Still got to be in a deficit. But anyway, this woman was like, yeah, I've got really slow metabolism. So they checked out all of her data.
Yeah.
They did some blood tests and all of that. And the doctors came back and they were like, yeah, you're absolutely normal.
Yeah, you're just
There's
a normal
no
human.
slow metabolism. And then they got her to do a food log. Her tracked food of what she thought she'd had was like 1,300 calories.
Yeah.
And then they did, I can't remember what it is, that you can drink something. I can't remember what the exact word is, but they basically allow this insert thing to be tracked through your body.
Right.
So they can then look at how much food you've actually had without you having to track it.
Yeah.
And it was on like 3.5.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So she was mistracking by 2,000 basically.
How can you even do that?
It's just
knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah, people not being used to it.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I don't think she was shocked. It wasn't like she was lying to herself. She generally didn't know that she was putting away
that much.
2,000 calories more than she thought she was.
Yeah, you got to think, right, a lot of people, like, even when they go to work, they might just pick up a meal deal, and like, you could easily get a meal deal now and end up making it like 1,000 calories, like quite easily.
Yeah,
I think it isn't people's like fault. It's just the lack of knowledge around nutrition that ends up messing them up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, even it's on a smaller scale, but even like yesterday, I had a protein bar and completely forgot that I'd had it.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how that would happen multiple times a day for someone, which would obviously make the whole process like so much more confusing, because you're thinking, oh, I'm in a 1,000 calorie deficit here, when you're actually not. You're probably still in a surplus.
Yeah, I think people as well, like, they don't like let's take Hannah for example. When she was at uni, she ended up gaining like quite a lot of weight over first and second year. She was like, I don't understand, because I'm not really eating that much. And we like actually went through her food then, and it was like she might be having like one proper meal a day, and then throughout the rest of the day she's just snacking, but snacking on just shite.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to not feel full because you're not actually eating proper meals, but you're just snacking on like absolute rubbish.
You don't realise, do you?
Yeah, you don't realise the amount of calories you're eating just through these little things.
It's the same with Nick. He's dropped just over, I think it's coming up to like 12 kilos now, 11, 12 kilos. And initially, because he's quite a big lad, like he's 6'4", 6'3".
Yeah.
I think he started at 106 kilos. Yeah, so like,
he's big.
Should be able to diet on quite a lot of food. So we put him on these targets, gave him a meal plan, etc. And his body weight wasn't dropping. I said to him on a call, I was like, in any normal situation, I'd probably drop someone's food here. but I know you. I've seen what you've been able to eat before, and I've seen you when you've been trying to put on weight. Like the maths is so far off math in here. Like something's not quite right. So we went through a couple of days of food, and it was still looking quite normal. So then I sort of asked, okay, is there any like little extracurricular things that maybe we've forgotten here? So we'd go through, and he actually said no. So then we went through each meal just to really make sure.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, eggs in the morning, is that literally all you've been having? It was like, well, there's a bit of chili oil and a bit of oil that we're cooking the eggs in. Okay, that's probably a couple of 100 calories there. And went through each meal, and there was something in the majority of the meals that was taking it actually from where we thought it was to maybe 800 calories more
extra across the day. Yeah.
So, like most people watching this, thinking that, nah, that's not me.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
Even if you think it's not.
It is so easily done. It's like, I've had people dieting before, and you'll put them in like on their meal plan. You'll put like, for example, a bagel thin with eggs.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, they're not dropping weight. And then you ask them, it's like, oh yeah, well, I'm probably having like substantial amount of butter on the bagel. It's like, well, there you go. That's going to be pushing that 200, 250 calories up.
Yeah.
If you're doing something like that, like you said, across every single meal, then...
That's probably something that we missed. Obviously, we were talking about this last pod, weren't we? About the unhinged hacks for dieting.
Dieting, yeah.
That is probably one of the biggest slip-ups that I'll see most people make. Just not actually tracking what you're having.
Tracking completely what you're having.
And most of the time it's food that doesn't even really make you that much more full.
Yeah, it's just a taste thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get bloody tracking properly.
Get locked in. Get dialed.
Yeah.
What else have we got to go through today? See, guys, we're struggling a bit today because obviously we recorded on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And today's Saturday. We've not done anything in between that time.
Quick turnaround. I've got a couple of... We could do a little segment here, which could be... Because we didn't even put a question box up, which is our fault,
we literally decided yesterday we were going to do this.
Yeah. But we could do some... a segment of like client questions from the week, if you've got any. Got any loaded? I've got one that we could kick it off with.
Yeah, go on. I can't think of anyone that's any questions.
This is quite an interesting one, actually.
I've got one actually in mind.
This is from... We should have a jingle for this section.
Cha-ching.
Client questions of the week. Jermaine was asking about caffeine. And he was asking from a gym performance perspective, but also obviously he's running like 2 businesses, pretty busy.
He's busy, isn't he?
And he's wanting to like sort of get the mental performance as well, as opposed to just the physical. So we're trying to talk about a bit of a caffeine protocol for him.
Yeah.
Over.
How much does he have?
Over that day. Well, this is what he was asking. He was like, is this too much? So generally, he sort of said he'll have 2 coffees in the morning.
Yeah.
Sort of one about 9, one a bit later on. And then he'll have 2 Red Bulls throughout the day as well.
Okay, so
it's reasonably high. I think those Red Bulls is about 32 milligrams per 100 mils. So what, like 75 milligrams of caffeine in a
little... Are them like little 150 ones?
No, the ones that's not the big ones,
medium
the medium-sized ones. So maybe 75, 80 milligrams of caffeine in them, and then 2 coffees as well.
Yeah.
I said to him, that's obviously sounds like quite a lot, but if he's making the coffees himself, they're not going to be that.
Yeah, they're not going to be brutal.
So I sort of estimated, okay, we might be hitting about 300 milligrams a day, which
I think that's about fine, really.
It's probably maybe a little bit less actually, 250 if the coffees are probably a little bit less than the Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Which I said I don't think it's too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have any points on training performance with caffeine or mental performance with caffeine?
It's actually quite a lot lower than what people think for training. I swear, like what actually is the equation?
It's a bit of a weird one because most of the studies are done from like cardio activities for marathons and all that sort of stuff, and for that it's actually quite high. But for the like mental side of it, as opposed to like actually boosting physical ability, for the mental side it's a little bit lower. So physical ability wise, like this will actually improve your performance, is like 4 to 9 milligrams per kilo.
Yeah.
So if you're 80 kilos, that's like 240 to 700 milligrams, 720 milligrams of caffeine, which obviously that's quite a lot.
A lot of caffeine, yeah.
But then from a mental performance perspective, it's really a lot less. Yeah. I think it's 1 to 3. I think, if I'm right, maybe 1 to 2.
So for Jermaine, he's probably actually like about in the sweet spot, really.
Yeah. I made some notes here. Yeah, 1 to 3 milligrams per kilo of body weight. For that sort of mental stimulation.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I recommended to him, which is about what he's having, and probably not to push it too much higher than that.
He's in a good spot with it. So yesterday, I had coffee, I had pre-workout, and I had a Monster.
Yeah.
And my like mental focus was so minimal.
Really?
Yeah, probably because I'd overdone
the
caffeine. I just could not focus on anything.
So what, did you have a full scoop of that pre?
Pretty much, yeah.
So that's like
400, I think
is it 400?
It was what is it, Conviction? I think it's like 350.
Yeah, you might be right, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure it's over 300.
Yeah.
So obviously I had that. And then I trained, and to be honest, I felt really good in the training session.
Yeah, you said you had a really good session.
Really good session. I don't know if that was probably wasn't just completely down to the caffeine.
Yeah.
Like, I just felt good in general. And then straight after training, I had a coffee.
Yeah.
I think that's when it starts to go
tipped you over
sort
the
of
edge.
Downhill, and you just sort of mentally a bit like all over the place.
I suppose it's in quite a tight time frame, isn't it?
Exactly. I think that was the main issue, was how close these like servings of caffeine were.
I also think if you really want to get a hit, like having the occasional hiatus is definitely a good like 2 or 3 days completely off. When you then have it again, it will make a much bigger difference.
Yeah, and that is quite hard to do.
Yeah,
like that.
When you're used to just sitting there chilling with a coffee or whatever,
to then not have one. It is pretty hard.
The other thing that I actually mentioned to Owen, was he was basically talking about like potentially wanting to transition to training in the morning.
Yeah.
But he was sort of saying, from a motivation perspective, he'd have to get up early and might struggle in that morning to crack on. So there's an interesting thing. I'm pretty sure Huberman Bro talks about it, and it's called dopamine stacking, which is kind of hell yeah.
We're stacking dopamine.
And I don't think you should do this all the time because you'll start relying on it. But let's say you're trying to like embed a habit for the first week or so. If you combine that habit with caffeine, maybe with some like music that you enjoy, loud music, etc., it'll help you like cement that habit way quicker. So I said to Owen, like, the first time you wake up is going to be rough, but get up, have a coffee, whack on some good tunes, and the next time you do it, and the following time and a time again, you start like building up this actual want to do it. You're like, I mean, even myself, one of the main reasons I can get into the office now at sort of 6:30 is I'm like, oh yeah, I can have a nice coffee when I get there.
Have a coffee and start. Yeah, it's like the whole really like process of it. Yeah, I agree. It is literally just building that habit, isn't it?
Yeah, I wake up and think, oh yes.
Yeah, I think at first, if you are trying to train in the morning, like you said, it will be pretty rough.
Yeah, you got to grit your teeth a bit, don't you?
When you get into it, I can guarantee, if you're someone who works like a 9 till 5, guarantee you your sessions will be better,
Yeah.
probably in the morning rather than after work.
And also, it will feel like you've got so much more time.
Yeah.
Because realistically, if you don't train in the morning, you don't get up earlier,
You're sleeping.
you're going to be kipping.
Yeah.
So then you sleep until you need to get up. You get up, you're rushing around for work, go to work till 5, 6-ish. You get back at 6:30. You go and train, and it's like, well, it's 8:30, 9 now. Like, I've got none of my day.
If you've got food to prep, you've got food to prep. Yeah. It's to bed.
And then you just massively living for the weekend.
Yeah, that's it. And that's when you get in that cycle of just being stuck in.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you're not really that happy.
Yeah, but if you can train in the morning, post-work, you got 4 or 5 hours then.
To actually have some downtime.
Yeah.
100%.
We were talking about this the other day, weren't we? About like the general work hours. How so much nicer if the standard was to start at 7.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Finish at 3.
Yeah, because I think, what was it? It got to about 8 o'clock, and we'd already done like a good amount of stuff that we needed to do.
Yeah.
And we were like, if we were actually working 9 till 5s, I would hate starting at 9 o'clock.
Mm.
Unless I was obviously training in the morning.
Yeah.
But still, like, for me, I'd much rather start work at like 6, half 6.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be sat there being like, all right.
Yeah. Should we just get going? Or
Yeah.
not? Yeah.
I mean, it's 8:30 now, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I feel like
I was talking to Tom Curtis, Chip, and then he was saying that because he got to the gym early. I was like, "You're here early," and he went, "Yeah, I've finished work." I was like, "Oh, I thought you finished at like 5."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I worked from home today." And I got up and I just started at like 7.
Really?
So I've done.
So he just does his hours. And...
Yeah. So I was like, "Why didn't you just do that anyway?" He was like, "I don't know." Because I'm pretty sure he said he could go to the office at 7.
Yeah.
So I was like, well...
Yeah, especially in the winter as well, when you've got like barely any daylight.
Yeah, I'd much rather have a little bit after work just to...
Yeah, I appreciate it for some people if they're on shifts or something, it's not really controlled by them, so that's fair enough. But again, if that's the case, get up, train in the morning, and crack on.
It's all routine, isn't it?
Yeah.
All bloody routine.
I think a lot of people will say they'll struggle with it, which, like, yes, you will.
Well, give it a week, 2 weeks, you're going to be enjoying it much, much more.
I mean, even now, like, this morning I woke up at about 5:30.
Yeah.
Like, the sun was coming through my window.
Yeah, it's easy to just get up.
So nice. I actually had to force myself to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
I waited up for my mum and dad to get back from honkers.
Yeah.
But it was just like, well, now I'm awake.
Yeah, let's just get on with the day.
So you can, everyone can do it if you really want to.
Yeah.
I do think there is, again, Huberman talks about this a bit, there is definitely certain people that naturally function slightly better later on in the day from a mental performance perspective, but like you can still shift it.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll just get that peak slightly earlier on if you just transition that a little bit.
Yeah. I got a good question actually. Well, it's semi-good that we can cover. So Ben was asking me, obviously he started this week, and I was saying to him, like, your best option is probably going to be to meal prep, like a good 2-3 days in advance, so sorted for work. And he messaged me one night and he said, for example, one of his meals is pasta, and he was weighing it out for 3 days.
Yeah.
So he has like 100 grams in each meal.
Yeah.
So it's like, obviously I've weighed out 300 grams, and I want to be like accurate with it. So obviously that's your dry weight.
Yeah.
So he was like, what do I do when it's cooked?
Yeah.
So I said to him, okay, like what I'd do in that situation is weigh it out as you did, dry weight, cook it, weigh it again when it's cooked, and then obviously just divide it by 3 and portion it out.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite a good.
Yeah, it's an I think...
Because obviously stuff increases in weight or decreases in weight as you cook it. I think for a lot of people, sorry, I'm so sweaty. A lot of people, like, depends how serious you want to be. Like, realistically, you could just eyeball it and you're going to be pretty close.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting to be super accurate, you probably need to weigh out pre and post cooking.
Yeah, I mean, is a 10% sway
exactly
going to make any difference when across the 3 days you're having the same total amount anyway?
Probably not.
Long term, no. I'd say if it's someone that's struggling from a mental side of things, I've had a few people like this recently that have been. I noticed probably 4 months in, rough estimate, people start gaining some kind of self-autonomy with this sort of stuff, which is great. Like, want to try and encourage that. But at the same time, with that self-autonomy, they try and do the same the same with kind of analysing the data, which, in my opinion, takes a lot longer to start to be able to do that.
To understand it,
and do it in an unbiased way.
Yeah.
So they'll start going, oh, right, I'm in a X amount 100-calorie deficit. I've seen on Google that if you're in this amount of deficit, you'll be losing at this rate. And, well, I've been in this deficit and I've lost less than that. You know, they'll start trying to analyse like that. So for those people, if they're not doing what you just suggested, let's say they have, on one day, they happen to over portion out each of their meals.
That could cause some fluctuation within the data. You get a spike
in body weight, and then suddenly the mindset's a bit on the ropes. It's like, oh, what's happened? Like, oh, that's so annoying. So for them, like, it might be more worthwhile, but for people that have a bit less time, or they don't need to be that accurate. Like
just eyeball
get a spoon. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
It's easy, isn't it?
And you're going to be absolutely fine. Or if it's chicken and you've cut it up to pieces, just be like, right, 4 pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah, I think for me, I eyeball it most of the time.
Yeah.
Like,
but some people love to be like super accurate.
Yeah.
Where, like, go for it. I mean, it doesn't make too much difference, does it?
No.
Especially if you got the pan of pasta on a scale. You can literally just whack it on the scale, zero it out, take out as much as you need.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
You're going to be fine.
It actually probably takes 5 more seconds.
Yeah. It's like me with my chicken and veg meals. Like, it's meant to be 150 chicken, 200 veg in each meal.
Yeah.
I don't, like, weigh out my veg cooked.
Yeah.
And then make sure I've got even in both meals. I get, obviously, it's the same day, so it won't matter as much. But still, like, I probably end up having 150 in one, and 250 in another, and maybe 100 chicken in one, 150 in the other. Do you know what I mean? So
I think it depends on the person, doesn't it? I know for me, sometimes if I'm like quite hungry, I probably shoot myself in the foot by not weighing it out on the cooked, because sometimes I'll be like, right, I've prepped for 3 days, really hungry on this day.
Yeah, so
let's just add a little bit more today.
I agree. Yeah, I can definitely.
And then I get to day 3 and I'm like, oh God, I
got like no chicken here.
So that's probably, you know, if you're someone that does that, then it might be more worthwhile. I should probably take my own advice there, to be fair.
Just weigh it out.
Yeah, and do that. But most of you could eyeball it. For some of you, it might be worthwhile doing it properly.
Wonder OP.
Should we leave the pod there? That's like 40 minutes.
I think that's a good pod. A decent pod.
Cooking.
Off the cuff.
Yeah, seriously, off the cuff. Hopefully you enjoyed this pod. If you did, subscribe. And YouTube's going to be super clever and whack another pod up there. So you can go binge watch them if you want. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. And will we see them next week?
So you're away from Tuesday.
Yeah, so this one will come out on Friday.
Yeah, and then I'm potentially going away on Sunday till Sunday, so we may be a week missed.
Sunday till Sunday. 29th.
Yeah, till the 6th.
29th till the 6th.
So there might be a week missed.
Okay.
We'll do what we can. If we can get one done somehow, we will.
We just have to find fake Leo. Bring him on.
Yeah. If we have to do one online, we've got to do one online. But I don't think it's worth it for the quality of the pod.
I just hate it as well.
Yeah.
So hard to actually have a conversation.
Yeah. Maybe drop a comment if you're a listener and you want to see us do one, even if it's online.
Yeah, you can let us know.
Please don't.
Yeah, they're horrendous. Anyway, we'll see you in the next one, whenever it is.
Goodbye.
Ciao.